And good morning, everyone in chat. Today will be our Game Week 36, double Game Week 36 deadline stream. Looking forward to it as usual. Finally on a little green arrow, which has been a long time coming, I feel. But good morning to you all in chat. I think there'll be lots of questions today on what players are worth bringing in. If so, which players. And we'll talk through my own team, of course, some of my transfer plans. Again, I only have one transfer and it's in the title, and I do feel like it is the only thing that is worth doing. Firstly, good morning to you all, though. I hope you are all well and enjoying the FPL. Good to see that a good bunch of you are still going strong into the remainder of the season, which is the hardest part to keep engaged. I think after this game week, we'll see a lot of people drop off, especially if they don't get the result that they want. This is where we start finalising, the mini leagues, and if you are still in reach at the top, keep faith. You'll need one or two big returns, which I think will come this game week. So let's see how you guys are set up. Do let me know in chat some of your dilemmas and we'll get to them. But for the time being, let's go straight to my team and show you what I'm at. So if I quickly pull up my team, I actually think I'm well set up this game week, bar maybe the goalkeeper. A few nice differentials in there. My double game week players this game week are O'Reilly, Semenyo, Haaland. Part of me does think, okay, Shirky probably is better than Semenyo, but not to the point where I'm willing of getting rid of Semenyo when I only have 3 players doubling this game week. I say only, I do feel like the majority have, 4 or 5 players. Okay, maybe 4 going into this week. I'm actually just going to pop out chat so you can see your chat on stream. Bear with me just a second, guys. I do apologize. But I do feel like I am happy enough with my team. I don't think I necessarily need to, or anyone at that point needs to bring in Palace assets. I'm actually very, very unsure, like many others, on who I think is the best asset. I don't think there necessarily is one. I actually think all of them are going to lose some sort of minutes, but that doesn't mean that they're all bad assets. It's just that they're not going to be as good as I think they are going to be, and I don't think any of them are worth taking a hit for anyway. Good morning, Derek. Good to see you, my man. You've not got Richarlison yet, says Chris. Relegation battle, Richarlison. I don't think he was in training yesterday. Don't quote me on that. He could have just been not in the videos, but I did see something that he wasn't in training, which is good to note. What I did see was James Maddison back in the team. Anyway, we'll touch on Spurs at some point, but the captaincy armband is on Erling Haaland, of course. Unfortunately, no triple captaincy because I used it 2 or 3 game weeks ago on a Cole Palmer like a silly boy. And yes, I do regret it, and I do think Haaland is going to absolutely smash it this game week. I think there are a few questions on whether or not you could use it on the likes of a Semenyo or a Shirky instead of a Haaland or even a Nico O'Reilly. And to be honest, I don't mind it, especially at this part of the season if you're chasing what you have to lose. And O'Reilly, Shirky, even Semenyo in a run, and I think in a run of games like this he can do very well. But these players can all 3 of them can do it, and it's hard to pick the one that's going to do best. And I think Haaland is definitely the safest one, especially across the double because he's on penalties and going to get 160 minutes minimum across both of them in comparison to Semenyo. Even Shirky, who I think will see 140-ish. O'Reilly probably you'd expect to get 160 maybe, if Pep doesn't do anything crazy. Good morning, Fahim. Good to see you. I hope you're well. But yeah, no, I do feel like you can go against it for sure, especially when the fixtures are like that. Brentford at home, Crystal Palace at home, especially Nico O'Reilly, who his numbers are just ridiculous, lads. Like another 0.44 XGI created versus Everton. And similar to what we done with Declan Rice, if you take his 2 game spells, he is averaging over 1 every 2 games, like a return. So 1 clean sheet and a return and max bonus for O'Reilly, and you're on for a big score. So I do and can see a triple captaincy there. I don't mind it at all. Fahim says, what do you think of DCL to Welbeck? I'm bench boosting this week. If I was bench boosting, then I would do it for sure. I think if I look at Rob T's graphic, he actually has, let me go solo. He has Welbeck second on the list, I believe. Actually, maybe I made that up. Let me bring up Rob T. Apologies. And while I'm at it, I should tweet that I'm live. Bear with me just a second, guys. Apologies. I'm live for double game week. Yeah, let's take a look at this Rob T graphic after I post this. 2 seconds. Okay. Rob T. Yeah, out of non-City attackers, Welbeck is fourth on the list, which is always a good sign because not everyone is going to be bringing in doublers, especially if you consider the Palace ones. Like Everton City, I think you can see a Mateta getting 120 across the boat. Is that enough versus Everton City? You'd almost prefer Danny Welbeck. I think it is hard though. Like it's very tempting not to go Mateta. I think the only thing with Mateta is you won't want him for the remainder of the season in comparison to Welbeck, who might tick away nicely. So I would do it for him. I would do it. And I don't think I'd think twice about it. Just looking at the rest of this list, Victor Gyökeres is of course interesting. I mean, with the form he's on, and Arsenal look like, in my opinion, are going to run away with it. I cannot see them bottling it at this point. Let me know if you disagree with that, but like I just think the current circumstances and the momentum that they carry into this game versus West Ham, and I also hope that they absolutely smash West Ham. I'm not going to lie to you. Would you take a hit to get Justin out on bench boost for a 4.3 budget? I don't think I'd take a hit for the gamer. Thanks, Shy. No worries for him. Right, lads, says Chris, got to dash. I'll be back at the very end of the stream. Catch you shortly. Let me know what you do, Chris, when you do come back in. But best of luck. Hope your daughter has a blast. Start Hill or bench and bring in Hinchelwood. Thiago also benched. I find it hard to bench Thiago, I'll be honest. I know on this list, he's 20th. But that's actually not even too bad. I mean, City away, I don't think is a game where, he's definitely. I found that these bigger teams find it hard to contain Thiago, and we've seen it multiple times throughout the season. He gets chances no matter what, and especially against City, who we know can concede chances. Find it hard to bench. Anish has got 6 double game week players. Anish, what the hell, man? What 6 have you got? Random says, Child, long time no see. Hope you're well. Randomness, good to see you. Here for the deadline streams, nonetheless. Nathan says, would you take strikeout? It wasn't for a hit, Nathan. I definitely would. I'd probably go to a Jan-Paul Van Heck. I'm just looking at the rest of this list, ladies and gents. How is Richarlison higher than Doku? What is Doku's minutes? And actually, how is Richarlison... Oh, this is a non-clean sheet. I forgot. Yeah, interesting list. Bruno, 0.35. Which is fairly high, to be honest. Alright, let's go back to my team. So, I really like that I have Ndiaye and Eze as differentials. I think if I bring in Saka now for Palmer, it really does differentiate myself. Going with the double Arsenal attack, I don't think many people have that. Just on Eze's minutes, I'm quite confident that he's going to get a start here versus West Ham. I think it's a good game for him, a player like Eze. I think Saka is probably likely to get 60 to 70 minutes as well. But for me, that's fine. Part of me really doesn't want to sell Palmer. Now, I am watching football with my own eyes, and he has been, I want to use the word atrocious. I think that is fair. And Chelsea have been as bad as Palmer has been, to be honest. And the fixtures are terrible. So there really isn't much incentive for me to hold on to Palmer. But the thing with Palmer is I always find where he loves a penalty. He missed one versus Forest. I wouldn't call it unlucky because it's a player lacking confidence and he missed. But he's the type of player that in any given game week he can just turn it on. And I know that. So part of me is reluctant to bring in a 70-minute Saka. But I think that's just me overthinking. So I think I am just going to bring in Saka. Now, it's not done. And I could definitely change my mind. I have no doubt about that. But it doesn't make sense to hold on to Palmer. It makes... Like, I would love to just bring in a Sarr if I thought his minutes were better. But I just don't think Sarr is worth it. I don't think he is worth the move. Anish has Haaland, Semenyo, O'Reilly, Mateta, Sarr, and Manoz. You're going all out, Anish. I've not seen anyone with all 6 and 2 attackers. That's really good, Anish. And look, I hope it works out for you because I don't think anyone is willing to take a risk on Mateta or Sarr. So best of luck with it. Flash says Virgil, Semenyo, Dango, 2 O'Reilly, Saka stack. Virgil, Semenyo, Dango. I don't really see that work, Flash. I'd almost just hold on to Semenyo. I think Virgil to O'Reilly is worth it. Would you triple captain Haaland and bench boost Dubravka, Wilson, Saliba, Van de Ven? I would definitely just triple captain Haaland. You're not going to get a better opportunity this week where there are going to be, other weeks where you're going to have single game weekers on the bench that you'd be willing to double. I say other weeks. There are 3 other weeks that you do it, in my opinion. T-Man says, morning try. I'm so excited for triple captain week. I wish I could say the same. I don't know what I was thinking, lads. Like Cole Palmer in a double game week where Chelsea have been rotten. I knew it was a risk I was willing to take, but in hindsight, man, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Semenyo and Hill or Sharky and Gabriel? Sharky and Gabriel. Hi bro, what order would you bench these players? Hill, Anderson, DCL. Look, I'm a Spurs fan. There's always going to be a small bit of bias. I have to say, the media around Spurs in the last 2 or 3 weeks has been on an upward trajectory. You know, De Zerbi doing multiple press conferences, not only a normal press conference, but with the club. I've seen clips of Maddison in training, players doing interviews. I just feel like, you know, the atmosphere around Tottenham right now is good. So, kind of confident going into the Leeds game. Spurs' numbers since De Zerbi's come in are 1, 2, and 5 for different metrics. Now, I know the fixtures have been easy. I don't think Leeds is an easy game by any means at all. But of course, they do have that cup final. They have... When is the cup final? Oh, sorry, they don't. Why did I think Leeds? Sorry, it's Chelsea, I was thinking. Sorry. That's an absolute blunder by me. Chelsea City. Why did I think Leeds? That's my bad. No, still though. I think Tottenham are just, in my opinion, I wouldn't back Leeds in that game, even if you have a Calvert-Lewin, and I feel like they're almost on the beach now. They are safe, like. So I don't think. I think I would put Calvert-Lewin second last. Of course, he's on penalties, so he could always nick a goal. And Spurs are definitely not a good defense. So Hill, DCL, Anderson. I'm going to put it. Who's the best Pascal Strike replacement? Got 5.7 million to get someone. I think if I had 5.7, I would go Lacroix. Maliki says, "What's for breakfast?" I've got my toast and eggs already in. You look confident on that Bournemouth clean sheet. No, actually, I'm not at all. But the thing is, I always find Bournemouth keep it close. Again, let me see if I'm wrong about that. 3-0, 2-2, 2-1, 2-1, 2-2, 0-0, 0-0, 1-all, 0-0, 2-1, 1-all. They keep it close. They never lose by more than a goal other than Brentford away, which is in game week 18. So, like, for me, I feel like Bournemouth are in a good place. Manager is leaving. But I don't think Fulham is the worst of fixtures to play 2 players who you'd be very, very confident in getting DEFCON in. So, not necessarily confident in the clean sheet, confident in the DEFCON as usual. And I do think they do have their own attacking threat. I think most weeks I'm almost seeing them get something. So, happy to play both of them. Eddie says, "Hi, Chad, I've got 0 free transfers, 0.4. What to do? Here's my team." Look, for what it's worth, unless it's a City asset, I don't think there's anyone worth taking a hit for this week, if I'm being completely honest. And sorry, the best Pascal Strike replacement, if it's not Lacroix, O'Reilly, of course. If it's not O'Reilly, then probably Gabriel. Like, Gabriel for West Ham, Burnley at home, or Ben White actually as a differential. Looks great. Start Calvert-Lewin or Bruno Guimaraes? Probably Bruno G. Again, I would rather play against Forest than Spurs currently. Biased Spurs fan here that thinks they're getting out of relegation, but still, let me know if you disagree with that. Me personally. And also, Bruno G should be on penalties. I don't think Gordon is going to be starting. So, all right, let's go back on Twitter. See another graphic from Solio. The highest projected goal scorer, point scorers this week, and a free hit team from Solio. Haaland 14 points, Sharky 10.8, Semenyo 9.9. Like, there's very little in that between Sharky and Semenyo, and that's why I'm still surprised with the amount of people going Sharky. I feel like most of the engaged people have already done Semenyo to Sharky. I'm more than happy to hold on to Semenyo and roll the dice. O'Reilly very high on the list, of course. Hi Chai, how do you do? I'm good. Should I start Mavropanos and Bowen? I probably would start Bowen, Defcon. I won't be starting Mavropanos personally. Also, it's interesting that none of us have considered likes of a Bernardo Silva. I don't think he's been particularly great from a GA perspective this week, but in terms of getting 2 starts, and he is usually involved some way, shape, or form. I wonder, is he an option? And his numbers actually aren't the worst, especially if you consider across the double. Again, he's definitely not exciting, but if you told me you got a nicked a goal or assist between Brentford at home and Crystal Palace at home, who are likely rotating, I don't think I'd be very surprised, and I don't think it's the worst of punts. And that's one that will not be talked about, and maybe rightfully so, but if you do have a third City option open and for some reason you don't want to go with O'Reilly, it's definitely an option. I think this free hit is pretty standard, other than Florian Wirtz, Szoboszlai and Gakpo versus Chelsea, who have been one of the worst teams in the league. I don't think they've won a game in 6, but still, it's mad to see. Munoz, Lacroix, Henderson. And also in my team, part of me also wants to bring in, I have 3 options. I can do Henderson in for Sanchez. I don't love that. I think I'm actually just going to ride out the season with Dubravka, which sounds crazy because he plays against Villa, Arsenal and Wolves, but I don't think there's any keeper right now worth bringing in. I think I could do Hall to Lacroix, play 5 at the back this week, which I also don't love, I'll be honest. Or I can do Palmer to Saka, of course, which makes a bit more sense for me. Pennies versus Michael Guineas with a €100 budget. It gotta be pennies, man. Pennies, you could go on a haul. Start one of Rayan, Tavernier, Hill. Probably Tavernier. I find Tavernier hard to bench, I'll be honest. Alright, let's do a little scroll on Twitter, see what people are doing. Is there anything interesting going on? Number 225 in the world. These are the days, man. His team looks brilliant. What is Fran doing? I'm now going to bed thinking of DCL. Safe to say it's been a productive evening. That is brilliant. We signed Peppa Pig and suddenly we're on an upward trajectory. Coincidence? I think not. That is so good. I knew AI wasn't all that bad. Alright, let's keep scrolling. See if we can see what other people are doing, if there's anything interesting on the timeline. Yeah, where is Saka? Saka is 26 on this list, which for goal scoring is quite low. Like, where's Palmer for comparison? Palmer is just down here. Maybe how silly would it be to hold on to Palmer? Very is the answer. But when I look at things like this and you consider Saka's minutes, I mean, it almost doesn't seem worth it. I don't know, man. But I will want Saka for Burnley. Again, assuming he's going to start, which I would assume. And that game could be anything, like literally anything. 73% of you have 3 plus double game week players this week. I don't think that's a surprise. I do feel like 3 is about the right spot because everyone has triple up on the City assets. Matt says, more than shy, I'm 30k trying to push top of my mini league, but second is not far behind and has triple captain, and I do not. Should I captain O'Reilly or Haaland? Well, I would ask you, who do you think scores the most points this game week? Regardless of who he's going to captain. For me, I would personally cap Haaland. I don't necessarily think he'd have the balls to go O'Reilly. And also, he's going to get a leg up on you if he does captain Haaland anyway. So you're kind of nullifying any damage. So he just has a singular captaincy over you if you go with Haaland as well. Which I don't think will be enough to hurt you. Don't know about Saka personally. I quite like Gakpo will be playing an out of position striker against Chelsea. What world are we living in? Dream where we're saying we don't like Saka and we like Cody Gakpo. As a Liverpool fan, Chelsea almost definitely will score in that game. I think so as well. Ice Valley. I think Chelsea will score. And that's why I'm like, part of me does think, okay, hold on to Palmer, but I've watched Chelsea. I watched them versus Forest, and oh my god, was I disappointed. Like, it was woeful. I also want Gakpo versus Villa. They have a European final. Yeah, that's true. That's fair enough. Maybe Cody Gakpo is the answer to all my cries. Who would have thought? Nothing else on the timeline worth looking at. Oh, man, I'm so sad about Harry Kane. I can't believe he got knocked out. I wanted him to lift the Champions League. I thought it'd be great, and it wasn't to be. Triple captain Haaland or bench boost with Henderson, Krupi, and Richards. Who is your goalkeeper if you have Henderson on the bench? That's a tough one, and I don't understand how you're benching Richards as well. I'll be honest, I think I would triple captain the green personally. I know as is you have Henderson and Richards, but I don't think that's your actual bench. Should I do Semenyo to Shirky for a -4? Absolutely not. Not in a million years. I don't think that is worth it at all. For me personally, anyway. Again, I could be wrong about that, and this could be the week Sharky absolutely blows Semenyo out of the water, but I don't mind holding on to Semenyo. I know his minutes in the last 2 has been iffy, but still have enough faith in the double. As this is FPL, City lose versus Brentford, Arsenal win versus West Ham, and then City rotate to full 11 versus Palace, and it's 3 days before the cup final. The Lord works in mysterious ways to destroy us. I think, yeah, that is also a possibility. Imagine the scenes, lads. Cut for Kane, West Ham tied to save us tomorrow. Chai Richarlison relegation man hat-trick. Dream, if I'm being honest, I'll be honest, I would be completely almost selfish for Spurs, and I would just want West Ham to lose and this relegation shit to be over. I'll be honest, like, I don't want to give any chance for West Ham to get Tottenham relegated. It's just not worth it. So for me, just Spurs beat Leeds, West Ham lose. Arsenal drop points versus Burnley at home. Oh, it's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. Imagine this, lads. Have 4 free transfers with Saka in place, Pedro, Enzo, and Senesi and Semenyo on the chopping blocks. Any punts with safe picks? I do think Sharky is safe if you don't already have him. For sure. And a punt on Bernardo Silva because he'll play both doubles. Bench Thiago or DCL? I think I would bench DCL. A lot of people selling or benching Thiago, and he's chasing the golden boot and is playing fire. I agree with that, Maliki. And in every single week, he's still getting chance after chance after chance. He's just missing. He's absolutely slacking, but I don't mind holding on to him for sure. Well, Arsenal haven't done the double against West Ham in 6 years. They're constant torn in their side. Yeah, and also Nuno. Nuno is the man. Like he, I am actually not confident in Arsenal beating West Ham. And also, I seen Henri talk about that game, and he was saying out of the games they have left, the West Ham one is the one that you can see him dropping points, and I actually feel the same. Um, and I'm not looking forward to watching that because I will be watching, unfortunately, because I will likely have double up on the Arsenal attack. It's a weird one, right? Let's do a poll. If you were a Spurs fan, and I think it's easier to say no. Actually, I'm not going to do that poll. I was going to do the poll on if you want West Ham to get a result versus Arsenal and Spurs to beat Leeds, but I feel like if you're not a Spurs fan, you won't understand not wanting Arsenal to win the league. I guess. Is a -4 for a Palace defender worth it? No, it's not. I don't think so. Anyway. Yeah, Mavropanos goal like we see every single week. Bench Mitchell or Gross? I think I would bench Gross, Mr. Lewis. Again, I don't think I'd be confident doing it, but I think I would do it. Apologies, chat. Had to close that window. It's freezing. Okay, let's talk about Iliman Ndiaye. The man I talk about every single week, and yet he blanks in most weeks and doesn't get DEFCON. But this week versus Crystal Palace, I am hopeful. I think is the right word to use. Of course, we have seen Crystal Palace are likely to rotate. European final on the cards. It's mad. 3 European teams in the final. Would you prefer Dubravka over Kelleher this week? Yes, I would. First versus the 18th is comfortable win, says ISG. Arsenal are in different mindset currently to get the job done. And I would agree with that, ISG. But for some reason, we see funny things happen when we expect things. Usually, anyway. Spurs fans want to draw, so both teams drop points. I don't think I want to draw. If we look at the table, right? So a draw would put City and Arsenal back on the same spot as long as City win both their games. A draw would get West Ham level with Tottenham. And then if Tottenham win, then we are 3 points ahead with West Ham playing against Newcastle. And then West Ham playing against Leeds. Would you be surprised to see West Ham get a result versus Newcastle and Leeds, given how Newcastle have been and that Leeds will be safe on the final day? I would not be surprised. And can I see Tottenham getting a result versus Chelsea? No, even though Chelsea are in the worst form of their life. And then Everton on the final day, which is at home, where we've been terrible. I would just West Ham lose, right? I don't think I want to cut it that close, like, personally. I just don't think it's worth it. Like, of course, part of me wants to draw some way, shape, or form. Like, it would be a win, almost a win-win. No, it's not. It's not a win-win. It's just an L. Anyway, it's conflicting. It's hard. The most Tottenham thing would be for Arsenal to lose and West Ham win and Arsenal still win the league. that would be something now. Oh my god. I'd actually just have to hang up the boots, like. I'd have to call it off. Hey Shai, Bowen to DCL to Welbeck. I'm on bench boost. Should I also consider strike to Van Heck, trailing my mini league leader by 8 points, and he is triple Brighton? I would do DCL to Welbeck. I think Bowen is a fine hold. He might get DEFCON. You're on bench boost, and I would do Pascal strike to Jan-Paul Van Heck. I think that is worth it. Assuming it's not for a hit. And if it's not Van Heck and you can afford Lacroix, I would go to Lacroix, I think. I would, yeah. Alright, another little scroll in timeline. Triple Captain is on for double game week 36. We've been here before, says Andy Martin. Love that. Man, the timeline's real dry. Everyone's focused. If you had my team, chat, what would you do? I feel like Palmer to Saka is obvious, given how Palmer's played, and his surgery is still coming up. He still isn't moving as free as we probably want him to be. Chelsea, I know they're kind of still chasing the European spots, kind of, but they play against Spurs as well after, and I see it unlikely. So I don't know, man. I don't fancy Palmer. Richarlison equals Mitrovic's 42 goals in the Championship next season. For what it's worth, I don't think Richarlison's going to stay this season. He'll be gone, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately. Senesi to Lacroix, what are your thoughts, Chai? I think it is a move worth making if you have nothing else to do. T-Man says definitely get rid of Palmer. I agree. It makes sense. Too much sense. Hi, Chai. Pascal Gross versus Kieran Dewsbury Hall. For me, that's a Pascal Gross start. It is close, though. Just for the fixture. Prefer the fixture. It's at home. I would personally play Gross. Saying that, though, Kieran Dewsbury Hall can definitely do well, and he's a player on form. What is this? Injury nightmare. 27 players injured and 363 games missed. That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible. It's mad when you look at it like that. Would you rather sell DCL or Thiago? I would rather sell DCL for sure. I would rather have Thiago for this run-in when they're chasing Europe. Okay, thank you, no problem. Bench one of Danny Munoz in DI or Wilson. I would bench Wilson. Again, it'd be hard to bench Wilson, but I would bench Wilson. Senesi or Tavernier. Started Tavernier last week and it backfired. It's just one of them. That's how powerful DEFCON is. DEFCON, a clean sheet, and you're on for double digits. And bonus points. That's why they're almost safer to start 9-10s out of 10, but I think now that Tavernier is likely not on penalties when Kruppy's on the pitch, it definitely decreases his appeal. I think I see Fulham scoring this game, I'll be completely honest. So I kind of want to say Tavernier, but of course I've got double Bournemouth defence, so it's actually quite hard for me to say. I think I would play Tav. Famiz. Which help me out. Start two of Garner, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, Anderson Fulham, and Thiago Stack. I would play Thiago and I would play Dewsbury Hall. Bench order: Hill, João Pedro, Tav. Given João Pedro's form and Liverpool can concede a goal, I'm actually gonna go bench order. That's a hard one, T-Man. That's real hard. And I don't really have a right answer. I don't think there is a right answer. If I'm going to give you one, though, I'm going to say Hill, Pedro, Hill, Tav, Pedro. It's at Anfield, so would you start Gross or Kruppy? Definitely Pascal Gross. Triple captain Haaland or Shirky? I would be on Haaland if I had it, unfortunately. I'm doing Senesi, Palmer, João Pedro to Gyökeres, Ben White and Saka. Ben White allows me to nail Saka and Gyökeres. Thoughts? I would absolutely do that. Football and stuff, definitely. And I wouldn't think twice about it. I think those are great moves. Alright, another little scroll. In the last 2 months, the only home fixtures City has had in Arsenal... Wait, sorry. Can't speak. In the last 2 months, the only home fixture Man City has had is Arsenal. That can't be right, is it? In the last 2 months. That is true. What? They had 4 away games in the last 5. What? I think people forget what they are capable of at home without playing midweek. That is absolutely true. This could be anything. That is mental, lads. I didn't realise that. Start Calvert-Lewin or Pascal Gross? Pascal Gross. I'm chasing rank a bit. I bought Saka, Shirky, and Lacroix using 3 of my free transfers for Palmer, Semenyo, and Strike. Nice one, Luca. That sounds great. Are you going to use the last one? Oliver says, should I bring in Saka and Shirky for Palmer and Semenyo? Using 2 of my free transfers, I have 2.2 million in the bank, and all of my chips have been used. I think so, Oliver. I like those moves. Like, I think you're in a position where you can make them. I would say do Shirky in for Semenyo if you have the luxury to do it. And Palmer to Saka is just a safer move anyway. Better fixtures on for the league, of course. Hoping for another Soboslai haul. I think it's definitely on the cards, Maliki. I don't think you'll necessarily be hoping for that as a Chelsea fan, but it's something anyway. This is absolutely hilarious, by the way. The fake account, Saka Starboy, Jordan AFC, and Saliba too. This is so good, man. I was actually pissed myself. I feel like Twitter's been golden. Have you bought Gakpo the Truth? No, I haven't. Let's take a look at Brighton versus Wolves. Expected lineup. Duncan Baliba doubts here. I don't think anyone outside of Gross, Welbeck, and Hinchelwood and Van Heck people will be considering. But yeah, good game for Brighton. It is a good game. I'm giving up on Chelsea. You hope they lose. I forgot this fella's on the cards, by the way, for 5 wins in a row. Is it 1 victory away? That can't be right. Where are we? Alright. Nothing interesting. Do you think Chelsea are the next Spurs? You're going to be in relegation next season. I think it's a weird one. I think, Chelsea are in probably where we expected them to be. I think the biggest mistake ever was selling or sacking Enzo Maresca. I couldn't understand that. Like, I really, really rate Maresca. 1 victory away, put the Mukiele goal in the bag, 2-0 the Sunderland win. Hope so, Dream. Yo, what's up, Choices, Harren? How are you, Harren? Hope you're well. Oh, that's brilliant. Alright, cheeky little refresh again. Spurs predicted lineup. Oh no, Voldemana is definitely not in Spurs predicted lineup. Start DCL or Tavernier? I would start Tav. Oliver. Not confident in okay. I'm confident in Spurs, and it's the first time I think I've said that this season. So I would bench DCL for Tavernier. Get your questions in, ladies and gents. Also hit the like button and subscribe if you aren't already. Much appreciated for you joining me. It's nice to do the Saturday streams again. I mean, I feel like it's been a few Fridays in a row, and Fridays after work, they definitely are longer. So I much more enjoy the Saturdays. I can kind of, wake up in the morning, have my coffee, and chill out for the rest of the day. What moves have you planned, Chai? Looks like I'm just going to do Saka in for Palmer. I think it's a nice way to differentiate myself, one. And the other thing is, I just don't see Lacroix in for Lewis Hall. I actually think there is a chance that Lewis Hall might start this game versus Forest. Now, I know he's been lacking the minutes in recent weeks for whatever reason, and just off the back of a win, but Matthew Doherty, get out of here. Are you going to move to the Championship FPL next season? Well, Matthew, I'll have you know, right? FPL stands for Fantasy Premier League, not Championship, so there is no FPL for the Championship. No, I'm just playing. No, Matthew, we're not getting relegated. It's not happening. It is not happening. I think the reason that I've not been upset about it is because the ignorance and arrogance about me thinks that we're not getting relegated, and it has been like that. And Roberto De Zerbi has absolutely changed my life. in the last few weeks. So I'm confident we get a result versus Leeds. I believe in the process. What are your thoughts on the Jimenez behavior? I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I didn't think it was real when it first came out. I just thought it was one of those things that was AI, like it usually is. But yeah, absolutely vile. To be honest, I'm almost not surprised that there's not more. Um, like, is that you're playing for a Premier League team and you're texting kids like, what is going on? Like, what are you at? Actually, it's something I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. Um, it's not like footballers necessarily have it all. I do think they're still normal people, but yeah, I don't get it. I really wish. Such a shame if Spurs stay up. Get out of here, Ice Valley. Sell one of Sharky, Hinchelwood, Tavernier, and Palmer. I think I would sell Palmer to Saka. Now you're staying up, don't worry. Matthew, how are you feeling on United? I think you must be over the moon, my friend. It's been a while. Let me know your thoughts on United and if you want to keep Carrick. I think majority probably want to keep Carrick at this point, but let me know what you're thinking. Yeah, I think it's been a mad week of the L football. Firstly, we have three European teams from the Prem. European teams in the Prem. Three Prem teams getting to three European finals. That's the first thing. We had Jimenez talking to kids. We had Valverde and Tucumeni getting into an absolute brawl, and now Valverde apparently has a brain problem. Yeah, it's been a week, an interesting one. Enjoy a tasty differential for you this week. Good luck, lad. Thank you, Dream. Much love. I also really like enjoy this week, and this is the point that Chris raised earlier. He said, if you think the NDI is going to do well, then you're backing City and Everton to both do well versus Palace. Then what is the point of bringing in anyone from Palace? And the point I raised is, of course, DEFCON is likely if he starts both games. And any player that can get DEFCON and any sort of goal contribution is likely on for bonus and a big score. I don't want to keep Carrick, says Matthew. That's an interesting take. What are your thoughts on United winning the Champions League and Premier League next year? Alex, I see in the username. I should have just not answered. Impossible. Imparable. Impossible. Impossible. Look, United are good, right? The only thing I would say about United, right? United are good. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't like. I've said since the start of the season. Well, maybe not necessarily the start of the season, but a few games in, throughout the season, you have been one of the best attacking teams in the league. I don't think there was many doubt of that. Even under Ruben Amorim, you just weren't getting the results. And now I find you're getting the results, which is usually what United do, even when you're playing poorly. But this is the worst I think you're going to see a lot of teams. Carrick is more of a risk than selecting the top 10 managers in the world. If you go all out, you'll at least get one of them. Selecting Carrick is too risky. Yeah, I can somewhat see that, but I think part of United's problems is that you've tried to target the best managers in the world and it doesn't normally work out for you. Anyway, going back to United, right? You've had a phenomenal season and you've deservedly you're going to get third. My thing is though that Spurs, if we stay up, which I think we're likely to do, City potentially, Liverpool, Chelsea. I don't see us being much worse than we are now. Spurs are rock bottom. Let's be real. If Spurs stay in the league, we're not going to be like this. Will be the kick in the hole that we need. Chelsea have been terrible. Now they can get worse. I don't think I have much doubt about that. Liverpool cannot get worse. City, depending on if Pep stay, I don't think they've been great. I know they're in a FA Cup final, but I did feel like there was a stint of where they were just not great. And Arsenal, who have been good, like I mean they have been, but terrible to watch. I think the league has been in a bad place this season, and you've been one of those teams that have done well. Now, I'm not trying to knock you. I'm just saying that not much people can be worse next season. I think that's fair to say. Yeah, I don't know if not going Carrick is the way, personally. Play Tavernier or João Pedro? 1974, I'd be so tempted to just play João Pedro. I can see Chelsea scoring that game for sure. The right thing to do, though, is play Tavernier. LMNT says Bowen and Justin out for Gyökeres and another defender for bench boost this week for -4. Is it worth it? I don't think that is worth it, LMNT. Personally, I don't think so. I have Saka, Bruno, Palmer, Tavernier, Hinchelwood to sell to Sharky. I would sell Palmer easily. Which games are you going to watch today, Chai? Good question. I'm going to watch Chelsea, Liverpool. I'm going to watch United, Sunderland. Even though I have double Bournemouth defence, I'll have live score on for Bournemouth, Fulham. I probably will watch City and Brentford also. Even though I don't think it's that exciting because everyone got O'Reilly, Semenyo, and Haaland. But still, I'll watch it just for the FPL. On Sunday, I'll probably watch... I probably will watch Villa Burnley because I actually quite like Villa. I hate when they play against Spurs because I feel like we do kind of have a hatred for them. But I really like Unai Emery. And if we didn't get the Zerbi at the end of the season, I actually really would have wanted Unai Emery. Not that he would have came, but I actually really rate him as a manager. And to be honest, Matthew, now Spurs should buy Andre Onana, Rashford, and Garnacho this summer. I actually think that Unai Emery is a perfect fit for United. Agree to disagree, but let me know what you think of that. I think that, like, if you told me in the summer that United were going for Emery, I think that would be the right thing to do, and I could see him doing very well. Semenyo to Sharky were a transfer, and also I think Emery needs a biggest club in the world job. I'm not trying to knock Villa there because Villa are a big club, but I feel like he hasn't had that stature of a, for example, Bayern, PSG, or Madrid, Barca. I think United would be a good step up for him. Semenyo Shisharki worth a transfer. I don't think it's worth a transfer. I think it's hope and cope potential difference. Cactus Jack, my friend, good to see you. I hope you're well. Long time no see. Good to see you here popping in again. Bowen to Welbeck for -4, no. Bowen for Gyökeres or Welbeck? Gyökeres. I think I'd risk it. João Pedro, DCL and Hill, bench 1. DCL. Matthew says he loves Emery. I agree. And who would your top 3 targets be? Any United fans, let me know. Who would you be targeting if you were a United fan or if you are a United fan? Thoughts on the pedestrian bridge crossing the shore? What? Your link on Twitter for the live is not working. Uh-oh. That link ain't working. Uh-oh. That is my bad. What have I done? 2 seconds, guys. I'm just gonna... Why does that not work? I'm just gonna update that link. Thank you for letting me know. No wonder why I'm absolutely slacking here. I just sent a link to the chat. That is so my bad. No way it done it again. Why is that happening? KW edit. No. Oops, you already said that. Okay. Good morning, Joe. Hope you're still doing well in the FPL. Let me see if my post's updated. Sorry, guys. 2 seconds. Why don't we go all out for him? Allow Carrick what he's done. Yeah, that's true. It's also a good way to leave United, in fairness. Still doing... Okay, there you go. It's back. Sorry about that. And I shouldn't have closed Twitter. That's my bad. Alright, sorry. Yeah, let me know where you currently are, Joe. What rank you're currently at. How you're set up. How many double game week players you got. Good morning, Mozamel. DCL to Welbeck were a -4, no. Who... Play Raya or Henderson? I would play Henderson. I would. Enrique, unrealistic. Look, I think everyone will want Enrique. I can't believe Spurs were linked to him in 2023. Ancelotti and Emery. Okay, that's a great shortlist. I don't think Ancelotti would go, or that would happen. Sorry. I mean, Enrique's dream. The only way I could see that happen if you were to win the Champions League. I think, like, why would you stay another year if you win the Champions League? Saying that it's his absolute perfect project. He's gotten absolutely everyone he wants, and he has the best young team in the world. But yeah, I mean, Enrique would be deadly. Striker Rex this week want to swap Thiago for someone else, but no standout replacement. Can't go Gyökeres because already got 3 Arsenal players. Well, I would hold on to the big man Thiago. Look, he's getting chances. He's getting chances and he's still getting goals. And he is chasing the golden boot still. City or not, I think he's a good hold. Enzo to Saka for -4. No. No. Start Garner or Mukiele. You know what? Mukiele is one of them ones who is just like, you're asking for trouble to bench him every week. That fella is absolutely ridiculous. Saying that though, it's hard to bench Garner. So I'm not going to give you a straight answer because I don't have one. Start 2 of Van Heck, Hill, João Pedro, DCL. Van Heck and João Pedro. I actually think I'd risk Pedro. I would. How's it going? It says Matthew Graham. All good, Matthew. Thank you for asking. Good luck this game week. I'm starting with Thiago and Krupi Jr. Dango on my bench. Would you bring in Welbeck for either of the forwards or Hinchelwood in for Dango? And bench a forward. Would you bring in Welbeck for either of the forwards? I think I would bring in Welbeck for Krupi Jr. if you can afford it, but I don't think you can afford that. If you can do that move in one, I would do it, Matthew. Providing that you have nothing planned for the remainder of the game week. Good morning, Choi. How about DCL to Gyökeres to make it Haaland, Pedro and Jock up front? Is that a good idea? It's definitely not a bad idea, and I quite like those moves. Again, I don't think Pedro is the worst of strikers to have this week. He's one of the best strikers in the league, in my opinion, and he just plays for Chelsea. I went from 5.5 million to 800k in 7 weeks. Just shows keep going till the end, and hopefully you can finish maybe in the top 500k 1974. No Bruno in your team is a pure agenda. Matthew, no, let me explain what happened. It's actually not. You know I love Bruno, and I actually really rate him as a player. Okay, I don't love Bruno as a person, but I think he's a great footballer. What happened was Palmer had a double game week, and Bruno was my only route out. And I triple captain Palmer and see how that worked out for me. O'Reilly triple captain, I don't mind that. What I would say though is it is very hard to beat Erling Haaland on penalties across both games, 2 home fixtures. And City's last 5 games in the league, 4 of them have been away. City at home are a different prospect. If he won the Champions League with PSG again this season, he would stay and go for a 3-peat. You think so, Matthew? So you think so? He's more likely to leave if he loses? I don't know, man. G Newbie says, good morning again. Would you start Hill or Bijil? I know that Tottenham bias a lot, but you think Hill will perform well against Fulham? I don't think either of them are great this week, I'll be honest, G Newbie. And that's why I would start Hill, because he's just better at getting DEFCON. You can almost guarantee Hill is going to get DEFCON versus Fulham, I think. Is Richie an option? Of course he's an option, Gary. The only thing is he wasn't in training, so I wouldn't risk it. He wasn't in training yesterday. That's not to say he's not going to start, but it's never great. Also, Solanke isn't far away, apparently, from Roberto De Zerbi. 49k Joe is at. 3 template moves planned this week. Have been mainly focused on the FPL odds tool launched this week. So I actually haven't spent much time considering my moves yet. Joe, let me know, what is your current day job? Interesting that you're working on developing tools. Very cool. And phenomenal rank. I mean, I think you're hoping to try break into that top 10k, I assume. Matthew Graham says, loads of money in the bank will probably go Welbeck for Krupi then, pal. Good luck again. No worries, Matthew. And best of luck with it. The reason I would go with Krupi is because Krupi's been good, and I think Iriola will probably see out his time starting a player like Krupi, giving him his chance that he probably thinks he deserves. But I think a player like Welbeck with Wolves at home, and for the remainder of the season on penalties. You can be happy owning. What about Osula as a punt? I still feel like, look, if Gordon's going to leave at the end of the season, which I think is very, very, very likely, especially if it looks like the manager is staying, like I feel like he does need to just get rid of a lot of players who've been there for a while. He probably will give Gordon his last game of the season at some point. So I think Kasula is not the worst of punts, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised to see a benching between now and the remainder of the season. What do you think about Tavernier or Dewsbury Hall for Shirky for a -4? I think that is a justifiable -4. For me, it would be Tavernier, I think. Reluctantly. I just don't think Enrique will leave. Probably give it another year. The team is too good right now. Yeah, that team is absolutely ridiculous. And they're so young that you could see them being a Madrid team, I suppose, and just running riot for the next 3+ years. And the thing is, they will spend. Like, they'll have that team and they'll just spend on, I don't know. I really feel like when I look at the market right now, like, I don't know who they would bring in. But the thing is, Enrique is such a good manager, and he's one of those where you can trust his recruitment, like, and I just feel like the board would absolutely back him, especially now after seeing what he's capable of. Sam says, hope you're doing well. What do you think of O'Reilly triple captain? Again, I really like O'Reilly triple captain, but I will say it's not better than Haaland. Bowen to Gyökeres or Strike to Van Heck. Probably Strike to Van Heck. Yosha, I can only get one cheap Palace player, says Ian. Richards, Kamada, Lerma, who to buy? Is Canvo an option, Ian? Gordon going to Bayern? You think so? Will Rodgers play versus Burnley? That's the one thing about Emery. He does not bench Rodgers. I have to say, Rodgers has been looking sharp. I watched that semi-final game. Thought he played well. Hutch, I hope you're playing. Hope you're playing well. Hope you're okay. What are your planned moves? Palmer to Saka. I have 3 transfers. Semenyo to Doku, Palmer to Saka, Calvert-Lewin to Gyökeres, mini-league chasing. I don't think I would do Semenyo to Doku. Palmer to Saka, sure. And Calvert-Lewin to Gyökeres, sure. Julian Alvarez to PSG. Yeah, that is a move that could happen. Matthew for sure. Don't mind that. Do you think Gyökeres starts all the games? I think it's very likely, yeah. I still see him getting early sub though. Samuel has got Haaland, Semenyo and O'Reilly. Would you sell O'Reilly to buy Shirky or Doku? No, absolutely not, Samuel. Who are the best 3 Palace players? Henderson, Lacroix, and I'm going to say Minoz. I have Rice, Gabriel and Raya. Should I sell Rice, Raya to get Saka? I don't think so, Kalido. Gomez to Hinchelwood or Strike to Gabriel? Strike to Gabriel. Bench Porro or Casemiro? Bench Casemiro. Sunderland is a good game for Casemiro, you know. Defcon. Header like he always does. Probably would start Porro, given this leads at home, but again, reluctantly. Can't stretch to Canvo. Only 4.4 for a defender or 5.1 mid. Well, then I probably would go Richards, Ian. I don't mind Richards. Again, my expectation for him wouldn't be very high, but still, not bad. Is benching players that play against assets from a stronger team, Thiago, Bowen, a valid move if you're chasing? Is benching players that play against assets from a better team? I'm going to say yeah. But the thing about the assets that play against better teams is those are the ones that can still return because they're on penalties. They can get DEFCON like a bone. So, yes and no. I feel like the actual differential thing to do is play them in a hard game, no? I think I'm doing Palmer to Bruno G. Forest look down to bare bones. They do. They do. I like that move, Jono. Dembele Ballon d'Or if they win UCL and World Cup. I don't think so. I don't think he's played too much this season. He's been on the bench a whole lot and gets early subbed nearly every game. Why not Ducko as an option? He's an option, but I don't think he's better than Shirky or Semenyo, even given the recent form. Joe is a software engineer by day. The tool is launched, free to use if you're interested, on X. Basically, Rob T's Bookies odds graph, but updated live and history graphs for every fixture. That is absolutely amazing, Joe. And you know what? We'll pull it up real quick. Let's see what it's saying. You know, I appreciate stuff like this because I'm not necessarily a software engineer, but I am. What is your handle, Joe? Joe FPL. Do let me know and I'll pull it up. What was I saying? Yeah, I am. My day job is very similar, except I'm more of a vibe coder rather. Like I wouldn't classify myself as a software engineer. Digital systems and automations. What do you think are the best assets for the final few game weeks? Well, I think the Arsenal ones are going to be the new direction after this game week, or the only direction if you don't got the triple up. Semenyo Shirky for a -4, no. Henderson, Shirky, Welbeck, or Woodman, Shirky, Gyökeres. Henderson, Shirky, Welbeck. Appreciate it, Shy. Gotcha, Ian. Captain, Shirky or O'Reilly? I think Shirky is more fun, actually, than O'Reilly. I'm thinking of doing Palmer to Szoboszlai and DCL to Gyökeres. Palmer, Szoboszlai, DCL to Gyökeres. They're nice moves, and something that I'm not seeing being talked about quite often. Kadianglu punt over Van Heck. Harren, that's also a good move. But again, I don't think there's much in it. Start Krupi or Tavernier. I feel like Krupi's the guy. I always feel like Krupi sees less minutes than Tav though. So probably start Tav, but Krupi's on form. FPL Joe YT. There you are, FPL Joe YT. FPLJoe.com. Alright, let's see what we got, Joe. Very nice, my friend. Where can I go? Am I in the right area, Joe? It's quite nice. I love this. It's the little things. The red colouring and the blue. It's subtle, but this is actually really nice. Oh, it has a probability of score lines. I assume it goes by most probable score lines. Shout out Joe, man. And the mighty Spurs here, 1.72. City 2.56. City again. Game week 36. Has the combined scores as well. Very nice. This is my first time looking at this your website. I don't know if it's only new, Joe. I know you said it was, but very good. Premier League Cups. Oh, you can see the odds change. Score lines. Very nice. Fair play, Joe. Much appreciated. Alright, let's do a little scroll in the timeline. Let's see what's going on. If there's anything else interesting happening. I don't think there is, but let's look at this. We have Emma with some of the projected starts for the week. Looks like Arsenal's lineup is sort of all over the place. Some people projecting Saliba not playing. Or Hincapié, sorry, I don't know why I said Saliba. Apologies. Villa. Bit of rotation for Villa. How do I become one of these for Spurs? I'd love to be one of these for Spurs. Dogie. Richarlison is 6 out of 6, which is surprising. I might DM about this. Ford. How do I become one of these for Spurs next? I would be willing to give a prediction. Not sure how it works. Okay. Good morning, bro, says Sharif. Good morning, Sharif. Alright, nothing on the timeline. Hi, mate. Would you transfer out Thiago to Welbeck or bring in Hinchelwood for Dango? I would bring in Hinchelwood for Dango. If out of the two. Dango's currently... Sorry, I answered that question earlier. Sell Royce, Ndiaye, or Sabo? None of them. Keep all three. Would you rather sell Strike to Van Heck or Thiago to Richarlison on bench boost? I would be selling Strike to Van Heck. If you couldn't bring in Saka, who would you go for? Probably Royce, which is boring. Do you think English teams should be in Conference League because they're way too dominant? I still think they should be in the Conference League, yeah, for sure. I don't necessarily think Crystal Palace are unbeatable, you know. If you don't have money for Lacroix, who would you buy? Mitchell, Canvo, Richards. I would buy Mitchell. I'm a Mitchell lover, personally. Sell Royce, Ndiaye, or Sabo for Shirky. I'm on bench boost. Oh, for Shirky, that's a different story. Unfortunately, it's probably Szoboszlai you sell for Shirky. Triple captain Nico Riley, Haaland or Shirky. I'm 50 points behind first place. Look, I'm going to be honest. If you're 50 points behind, that is a bit of a stretch. But if your mini league rival does not have it, I still think I would go Haaland, personally. He could still gain you 15 points-ish. Hi, Chai. Is Eze to Saka and Watkins to Welbeck worth the move, or do Thiago to Welbeck? No, Eze to Saka is not worth it, no. Watkins to Welbeck is worth the move. Good morning, Chai said Red Devil. How are you, Red Devil? Would you rather sell Strike to Van Heck or Thiago to Richarlison? Sorry, answer to that. If you don't have enough money... Sorry, answer that already. Sell Strike for Van Heck, Kadioglu or Manoz. I find it hard not to target a double game week player, Harren. I'm going to say Manoz. Start 2 of João Pedro, Calvert-Lewin, Hill or Tavernier. João Pedro and Tav. Again, I don't really like the Hill versus Tav, I'll be honest. I need to update my timer, do I? Tools, scripts. We have 51 minutes until the deadline. Alright. I reckon Bone scores Worley today. Well, I hope he does not. I really hope he doesn't. To score at least one. 84% chance Haaland. 64% chance Semenyo. Bruno to Saka or keep Bruno? To be honest, there's absolutely no issue with keeping Bruno ever in life. Ever in the life. Now it's interesting on the timeline. I actually didn't see this. First of all, we want to win against Everton because then we are safe. That means one more win and then we can think about the Conference League. Fortunately, I have a bit of time to think about how to prepare the final and do my research, talk to staff, and then we will plan the last week. But now it's really about getting the last win versus Everton so we can be safe in the league and then making the second step. Let me look at Palace's fixtures to see how far they are from relegation. So Spurs won. Actually, no, Palace are safe. What? Palace would have to lose 4 out of 4 games. And Spurs win 2. And West Ham win 3. Or 2 and a draw. Which I don't see probable. That is almost, I want to say, impossible. Palace would really... Who did Palace play for the remainder of the season? Everton, which is a hard game. City, where don't see a result there. Brentford, hard game. Arsenal, hard game. You know what? They could lose all 4, you know. Maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but I wonder if he might see a relatively Strong team against Everton and then rotate more versus City. Cheers, Shoy. Liverpool's projected goals down by almost 0.2 in the last 12 hours. Usually a statistically significant amount. Do we have any LFC Chelsea injury news or doubts we're waiting on? What I did see, Joe, was a quote from Arne Slot about the gym and Mo Salah. So I wonder, I know Mo Salah is a doubt or out anyway. Who else is there? Let's do a little research. Let me think. What is the status on Salah actually? I think because not many of us own him, or any of us, and he's been that poor this season, I've actually not kept the date with Salah's update. Muscle injury, not back. Let's have a look at little Stoke on LFC. Can we get any news on what may be happening? Anything Liverpool? This is a terrible way to find them, by the way, but I was just hoping something would pop up. X, Y, and Z is a doubt. This is what I was talking about. This comment here. I didn't like this. I can understand, where they're both coming from, really. Thiago Simateta or Welbeck? I don't think I'd do it. Arlvanenten. Senesi Tilakwa? Yes. Senesi Tilakwa. Nah, let's keep an eye on it though. See if we get anything. 0.2. That is a lot. That is very statistically significant. You're right. What's interesting to see is Chelsea's one also dropped, which is interesting. All right. I think I'm just going to make this Saka to Palmer move. I'm not going to think about it anymore because I don't think there's that to think about. Saka poor. Or Saka better than Palmer, really. Double up on the attack. 1 million in the bank for next week. 1 million next week would get me Lewis Hall to Ben White. Double. No, actually, I can't do that next week. Doesn't matter. Still happy. Ben White is not happening. Saka's in. Done deal. Haaland with the captaincy as usual, unfortunately. Oh, would you look at that? Look who we got in here. Thank you, Anto, for the one gifted membership, as usual. I think we must be on 15 or 16 weeks in a row now, my friend. And none other than FPL Madrista has won it. Let me know what you think of everything that has happened with Fede Valverde and Shukamene. I'll be interested to see what you think. But congratulations, FPL Madrista. And Anto, good to see you, my friend. I didn't know you were in here. But as usual, supporting the channel, my man. Oops, I just clicked something. Okay, there you go, we're back. Anto, legend. I don't need to tell you because I tell you every week. But absolute GOAT, man. Star Virgil van Dijk or Tavernier? Tav. Cheo or Thiago or Wilson or Bowen. Need to pick 3 of them, please. Or -4, bring Sar. Thiago, Bowen, and Wilson. Anto, let me know what you're doing this game week. And are we confident in Spurs this week? Because me personally, I am. So confident that I brought in Saka. Oh, here. Maliki, man. Maliki. That was ridiculous. Shout out Maliki for the 5 gifted memberships. Who is another one in here and always supporting the channel. I mean, that is ridiculous, Maliki. And shout out to the Matrix Avatar. Sister Bozen, George, and Shatkan for winning the memberships. Maliki, legend. Boaty are always in here. Been consistent in the group chat, of course, and much love. Good way to ride out the season, and great to see the support still coming through, lads. I mean, can't tell you how much I appreciate it, especially the 2 boys who are always in here. Anyone who's always in here, I don't know how you do it. I couldn't listen to me for more than any minutes. But yeah, much love, Manaki, and fair play to anyone who's won it. And it says, good morning, everyone. Morning, Chai, my friend. Only just got here. Come on, you Spurs. Hoping for big wins from Arsenal and Spurs this weekend. Me too. I hope. I just hope. Like, I don't want Arsenal to drop points because it's versus West Ham, unfortunately. Triple Captain Haaland or Semenyo? Haaland for me. Good morning, Chai, says Tiny Fungus. Good to see you, Tiny Fungus. Another channel member. I hope you're well. Chai, should I get Victor Gyökeres or Saka? Saka. Cheers. Now to decide which City player to triple captain, Haaland, Sharky or O'Reilly. Again, I would just go on Haaland. Double game week, 2 home games. He looks hungry. In that game versus Everton, he was sprinting everywhere. I feel like he can do very nicely in this double game week. I'm confident, to be honest. Maliki, man, what the hell? What was that? And Sister Bosun says, thanks. Do spam the big green arrow emoji in chat that you've just got from unlocking the membership. Can't believe it. That was mad. Back to the FPL though. Much appreciated, lads. Let's take a look at another scroll on the timeline. Rory says Van Heck, DCL or Tav. Van Heck. Van Heck, methinks. I'm actually just going to post my team on the timeline before I forget, lads. 2 seconds. Stop. Because I will forget. So I'm currently 564k. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Little world emoji as we usually do. Tiny Fungus, are you locked in? Let's do Haaland cap. What else can I do? Palmer to Saka. What else? I think that's about it, really. Like, it's nothing exciting, really. Are you from Waterford? Says Soil Creep. I am. Do you recognise me? Is 20 to 25 points behind enough to punt on triple captain O'Reilly? It depends on what Michael, the person in first, has. If he doesn't have a triple captain, well, I mean, I suppose you'd be more inclined to just play it safe and go Haaland and think that you can make up the points elsewhere. I'm locked in. Is there anything else I can say? No. Happy with the team. Not happy with the rank. But let's see if we can still finish strong. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through my emoji wheel. I don't know if you can see my screen. Okay, back to chat. Sorry, Tony Fungus is saying he's at the gym, praying for an Arsenal loss. As of I can't say I'm saying the same. Part of me does want it. Part of me definitely does not want a loss. Loss is worst case scenario here. Morning, brother. 4 free transfers. Got rid of João Pedro, Palmer, Semenyo for Saka, Gyökeres and Sharky. Still got 1 free transfer in my hand and I'm saving. Love that, Adam. Great moves. No worries, Rory. I am too. Just guessed with the accent. Enjoying the stream. How old are you, Soil Creep? It looks like, do you play anti-FPL? Just based on the symbol. That is mad that you guessed from the accent. What part of Waterford are you? Are you going gym today, Shai? I am. I'm actually really excited. I got a new weightlifting belt for weight pull-ups and it's actually changed my life. So I actually am really looking forward to it. Today's going to be upper. Saying that though, I have a bit of a cold, so nothing new here though. Royce, Maguire or Matoma, White, Lacroix, please answer, and I'm on bench boost. Royce and Maguire or Matoma, White / Lacroix? Matoma and Lacroix. Saying that though, you're gonna want White next week. But if you don't mind doing Lacroix to White next week, then definitely Matoma and Lacroix. HI, good luck this week. Has not gone well this season. I have Doku and O'Reilly and triple times captain on Sharky. Best luck with that, Pishang. I think it's a nice way to differentiate yourself with O'Reilly, Sharky, and Doku. I don't see that a popular trio and triple captain. So best luck. It's not been a great season, but we try to finish strong. The main thing is the hardest part of FPL is continuing to play in these times, especially when you're not doing well. And they make the good times when you are doing well much better. Soil Creep says yes. He's also playing League of Ireland fantasy football. I didn't even know that was a thing. I know you're a real one when you play. What's it called? Anti-FPL. It looks like I've been playing anti-FPL at parts of the season with Triple Chelsea. But yeah, it's been interesting. Best Okafor replacement for 6.4 million. You already have Hinchelwood. 6.4. Doku, Bernardo Silva as a punt if you don't got triple up on the City boys. I see Van Heck outscoring any Palace defender this week. I don't see it happening, Harren. Andrew says, hey, good luck. Any news for Strike, please? Strike should be fine. Am I wrong about that? I've not kept up with Pascal Strike. Pascal. Hold on now. Don't quote me on Strike should be fine. I actually don't know. STRU. Let's pull up the latest and greatest because I actually don't know. He's a doubt. that's all you're gonna get. I actually don't know. You probably sell Strike anyway though, because I don't think it's a great fixture. Morning, Troy. Would you start Tarko or Mukiele this game with cheers, says Jono. I would start. You'd probably start Tarkovsky. You expect United to score. You can't rely on Mukiele getting a goal every week. I think you start Tarkovsky. Morning, Troy. How are you? Good, Mark. Thanks for asking. DCL or João Pedro and Tavernier or Wilson? João Pedro and Tav. João Pedro and Wilson. Wilson home game. You take that all day. What is estimate minutes for Eze? For me, I have him at around 65, I'd say. 65 X-Mids. Made a little error, I reckon. Got Sar last week. That's the thing, though. Like, I don't think having Sar is the worst thing in the world. But, like, my expectations, again, probably 90 to 120 mins, like. 60 and a 30, maybe. Or a 60 and a 45. Sell Enzo to SAKA thoughts. That's absolutely fine by me. Kieran Dewsbury Hall or Hinchelwood? Probably Hinchelwood. Form, better fixture. Crystal Palace still a tough game. Alright, another little scroll in timeline, lads. We have 34 minutes until the remainder, or till the end of the stream. I hope we're getting locked in. I don't think there's too many decisions to be made. I'm locked in, of course. I'm actually happy with my team. Hey mate, I'm looking at Strike, Scott, and DCL to Canvo, Hinchelwood, and Yock. Is it worth 3 free transfers? It's risky, and the reason it's risky is because 3 players. Okay, Hinchelwood should be fine. Yokerez could see reduced minutes, but I do think those moves are worth doing. I mean, Scott is probably, you don't want him for the remainder of the season. DCL you won't want either. I feel like his run is up, and Strike also, and a doubt. So Canvo, Hinchelwood, Yokerez, absolutely. Adam says, "Hey, Show, would you start? Who would you start this game week between Hill, Tavernier, João Pedro, or DCL? If I had to start one, it probably would be. I keep saying this. It's very close between Hill and Tav. I would think it would be Tavernier. Hill is the safest option, of course, due to DEFCON. Rogers to SAKA. Now that's a tough question. I don't think I'd make that move. Mark says, thanks, Shy. Hoping to grab some rank. Currently 103k. 103k is not a bad spot to be in. I don't think at all. Start Bowen or Thiago, who's not playing at 3 p.m. I think I would play. I think I would play Bowen, and the reason I would play Bowen is because of DEFCON. I think I would play Bowen for DEFCON. And it's a home fixture. I know it is Arsenal, but I would expect Bowen to work his socks off even if West Ham were to lose this game. And that's just me, Tiny Fungus. Triple captain O'Reilly or Haaland? Again, Haaland. Like, it's just very hard for me to not say Haaland. There's not many ways in which I would go O'Reilly, I don't think. I didn't mean to vote on that. Oops. Look at this graphic. What is going on here? That is brilliant. Oh my god. Start Tav, João Pedro or Senesi? Tav. Chris says, bro, I bought White thinking as Timber is out, we're good. But I'm hearing people thinking he may not start because of defensive options. What do you think? Am I cooked? No, I think you're fine, Chris. I don't think White is the worst of boys, but maybe he's likely to miss one game for the remainder of the season. And the reason I think of that is, is because, I mean, White is still, and given Timber's injury, you know, they'll want to keep him fit. He's always injury prone. Caesar has Eze not starting this game. I just need to go back into that chat. Sorry, hold on. I actually just remembered. Captain Shirky over Haaland, good move or not? Well, it's not a bad move. It's not a bad move. I just think Haaland for the mins is just always safest. I think we forget that, like, this is Pep and a double game week. The possibility of one of Semenyo, and I know they're chasing the league, but I actually just won't put it past them. That's why I would just play it safe on Haaland. Only teams I could see resting players are Villa and Crystal Palace. Most other teams are in must-win games to fight for Europe or stay up. I agree with that, Tiny Fungus. I would agree. For sure. Half an hour until the end of the stream, lads. Get your questions in. Why no triple captain, Shy? What? What? I don't have triple captain, if that's your question. Alright. Another little refresher on the timeline. I don't think we're getting anything interesting. As I'm just looking forward to the Spurs game, if I'm being honest. I just want to watch Tottenham. Hi, I'm from Australia, says Goose. Here's my starting 11 dilemma. Who would you start between Nkapie, Bruno Guimaraes, and Calvert-Lewin? I would start Bruno Guimaraes. Should I keep or sell James Justin? Sell. You have Van Heck, Manoz, Gabriel O'Reilly. That's a great back four. Bench one. Oh, who is Virgin? Virgil, Senesi, or Thiago? I would bench Virgil. I think. I think I would. Yeah. Not comfortably. By the way, I also really hope that Jose Mourinho goes back to Madrid. I would love that. Make of what you want of Mourinho, but I still think he could do a job. Spurs don't have enough players to rest. Hoping we see Madison off the bench this week. I do hope that as well, Anto. I think it's very likely. Look sharp and train. -4 for Wirtz or Szoboszlai. No, I don't think I would take a -4 unless it's for a City asset. If I had to choose, it would be Szoboszlai. Should we lose versus West Ham so Spurs go down? Absolutely not. Do not lose to West Ham. At all costs, do not lose. It's the only thing we ask. Oh, lads, I'm telling you, the most typical thing would be for West Ham to beat Arsenal and Spurs to lose to Leeds. That would be the most Tottenham thing ever. Oh my god. And I just wouldn't be surprised. In the slightest. There's no way Arsenal tanked their game versus West Ham just for Spurs to go down. You'd like to hope so. Alright, let's do some score predictions. Well, I'm going to give you my score predictions. Liverpool versus Chelsea. I think, I'll be honest, this is another loss for Chelsea, but I do think Chelsea can score. I'm going to go with 2-1 Liverpool. Brighton Wolves, I'm going to go 2-1 Brighton. Fulham Bournemouth. I think this could be a 1-1. Sunderland United, I'm actually going to go with a 2-2. City Brentford. I think City will beat Brentford 3-0 at home. Villa Burnley, I think Villa will actually quite comfortably win this game 2-0. Crystal Palace Everton, I can see being a 1-1. Forest Newcastle, I see Newcastle beating Forest 2-0. West Ham Arsenal, I see Arsenal winning 2-0. Spurs Leeds, I see Spurs winning 2-0. City Crystal Palace then, where I think Crystal Palace will rotate quite a bit. I think can also be a 2-0 victory for City. In terms of my team, the points that I can see my team getting. Dubravka, I see getting 0. Maybe 1 save point. O'Reilly, I'm going to say, gets a 6 and a 2. Even though I'm after saying that City get clean sheets, but I don't know. 6 and 2, 6 and a 6, maybe 12. Senesi and Hill, I'm hoping for double DEFCON. So 4 and a 4, that would be ideal, but I don't see it realistic. Gabriel, I think, will get a clean sheet and bonus points. 8 DEFCON. Maybe we see a 10-pointer. Semenyo, I think, can get a goal. Underrated player this game week. I'm going to say 10 to 12. SAKA, who I just brought in, I'm hoping for 1 return, 7 points. Enjoy. My dream is that he gets DEFCON and a goal. Realistically, I think I see 6 points, an assist. Eze, again, would be happy with a start. A risky own. Do you have any chips left? No, I don't. Haaland, I think, can get. I wouldn't be surprised to see, what is that? 20, so 30 points overall, 15-pointer. Thiago, I think will probably get 2 or 3. 3 is not even possible, so 2. Unless he gets DEFCON and yellow card. Hoicha keeps Semenyo, leaves 1 of either Gyökeres to João Pedro, strike to Lacroix. I would keep Semenyo. Gyökeres to João Pedro, no. Strike to Lacroix, yes. Would you sell a Rodgers for Saka? I wouldn't. Do you have any chips left? No. Sorry, I'm rerunning over the same questions. Let me refresh the timeline. Let's see if there's anything interesting on here. I don't think there is. Triple Arsenal being brought in here rather than Palace, which is really interesting. I'm just going to look at this again. Final updates from Rob T. Look how high Brighton are versus Wolves. 2.54. That is ridiculous. And I own 0. Yeah. I don't think there's that in here to know other than who we expect to do well. I think I'm going to regret not having a Palace defender, but it is what it is. I'm not too worried. Play Anderson for Fulham or Mukiele, who was the first sub between the next guy and Dango. I would play Mukiele, I think, over Anderson. I just posted my team on your post chat. Let's have a look at what Anto's doing. Anthony Martial. He's gone full fate into West Ham and he has Mavropanos. Full reverse psychology mode with the West Ham players. Good luck, my friend. That's what I love to see. That's brilliant. Good stuff, and it's actually not a bad team. Bar Mavropanos and Darlow. Love that. Who do I start? Scott or DCL? You probably start DCL in that situation for penalties. Do you think Saka will keep his form? I don't see why not. Why not Krupi instead of NDI? NDI always has DEFCON penalties and better minutes, better fixture for me downtown. Thoughts on Conor Gallagher? Look, I'll be completely honest. I have been one of the most critical people of Conor Gallagher before he started playing well under De Zerbi. I always thought and knew Gallagher has a player in him. Just we haven't seen it under anyone bar De Zerbi so far. So thought he's been excellent so far. Specifically in the last 2 games. And I'm hoping he can keep it up. I'm glad because, I mean, it looked like a waste of 40 million euros or whatever it was, pound. Yeah, so yeah, delighted for Gallagher. I actually like Gallagher as a person. I just thought he'd been poor, but delighted. Mukiele or Anderson / Senesi? I would play Senesi in that case. Tiny Fungus, I think. That is a flip of a coin though, all 3 of those. Start James Hill or Virgil van Dijk? I would start Hill, I think. I really see Liverpool conceding. Wesley says, hey Choi, did Palmer / Bowen for Haaland / Hinchelwood for a -4? My mini league rival wildcarded last week and has 3 trips left. What? Did Palmer Bowen for Haaland Hinchelwood for -4? Okay, I think you're in a bit of problem, or bit of an issue there, Wesley. I wouldn't go different with the captaincy for the sake of it though. Choi, I have both Lacroix and Munoz. I'm tempted to transfer Munoz out. I wouldn't do that, polite. Because Munoz is so attacking that in 120 minutes, if he gets it, even if he don't start, he can get an attacking return. Would you bench boost if you had Thiago, Bowen, Saliba and Emi Martinez? Yes, I think is the easy answer for me. Absolutely, yes, I would. Sell Tavernier or Pedro, or roll the third free transfer. I would roll. I think those 2 are okay to hold. I think. Alright. We have 20 minutes until the end of the stream, ladies and gents. I hope you are enjoying. Again, this is probably the last big game week. I say big game week. Double game week, of course, are always more popular than the single game weeks. And there are a lot more questions. So I hope to see you again next week. We'll be going for the last 20 minutes, though, of course. Sell Tavern... sorry. Yes, bro, chasing my mini league and want to go against Haaland, Sharky or O'Reilly cap. If I had to choose, I would go O'Reilly, but I actually think Haaland is the right answer. But yeah, O'Reilly probably would take it over Haaland for me if I had to choose. Is anyone else? Is anyone bringing in anyone interesting? I think we're seeing a lot of the same moves because of double game week, of course. But I think the Arsenal ones are interesting. By the way, Shai, I'm going to triple captain to Haaland, says Wesley. We actually play a month-by-month league, and I outscored him by 1 point last week, even with a -4. I suspect that he's going to triple captain as well this week. Well, I like that, Wesley. That makes sense. Chasing a 200-point mini league. Lacroix triple captain. Brilliant, Takib. It's actually gas if you are 200 points behind in the mini league, but look, it's been one of those seasons for me, and it sounds like it for you too. I bought Dewsbury Hall. Don't mind that. Dewsbury Hall has been on fire. I mean, I could go with Haaland, but need to chase 50 points in 3 game weeks. Yeah, I think then you just go against it. If the only thing that matters to you is chasing that league, well then yeah, I would go early. Start a 90-minute Kieran Dewsbury Hall or a 60-minute Saka? Well, I'm starting a Saka. Or do I start Scott or DCL? The thing is, though, it comes down to game state, I think. If Arsenal are drawing in 60 minutes versus West Ham, Saka will stay on that pitch, I think. Whereas if they're winning 2-0 in 60 minutes, Saka comes off. So you're hoping that if they are winning 2-0 in 60 minutes, that Saka has returned. Who do I start, Scott or DCL? DCL for the Pens. Chris is back. Thoughts on Bruno G's differential? Good. I actually like it versus Forest, I'll be honest. Brought in big Will Osula. Best of luck this game with Chai. Good luck, Jono. I think Osula is an interesting one. The only thing put me off is the thing that I think he could be rotated by the end of the season. Cheers, brother. Good luck, says Ed Reese. Good luck with that, Ed Reese. And I'm going to be keeping tabs on that to see how you get on. Check back in next week. Did well with Gyökeres last week, captain, says Jet. I'm still behind in my league, but thinking I can go again, Dan, to try and get ahead. Think I go again, Dan, to try and get ahead. Seems to be in form. Come on, you Gunners. Danny Welbeck, I think. Good luck, Jet, though. And yes, come on, you Gunners, for 1 week versus West Ham. Triple captain O'Reilly. Good luck, Chai. I'm actually surprised with the amount of people on O'Reilly. It's actually more than I thought it would be. But again, we are at that stage of the season where it's make or break for a lot of people. More than Chai, start João Pedro or Evan Nilsson. I personally would start João Pedro. That's just me, though. Con is still 274 in the world. Semenyo and Strike to Sharky and Gabriel. What? What's interesting here is that he's held on to Palmer. He's a better man than me. I wanted to hold on to Palmer, I just didn't. Strike to Kadioglu locked in. Like that. HI, would you go with Szoboszlai or Dewsbury Hall until the end of the season? Or any other midfielder would you recommend? I would go with Szoboszlai. I think he's on penalties, so he looks good and been on form. I plan on doing Saka next week. I suspect he's going to use his free hit to bring in triple Arsenal, maybe double attack. He might bench boost last game week. We play a league where winner takes all. Oh, it's hard trying to estimate what other people are going to do. But Wesley, I would have focus on what you want to do. Always, always, always. Morning, babe, says Kieran. Good to see you, Kieran, my boy. How are you getting on? Come on, you Gunners. Toast on Bruno Guimaraes. I think he's a good move for sure. Penalties as well, I suspect. The Blue Lions says Sharky or Semenyo. Well, if I could choose now, it would be Sharky. Is Semenyo to Sharky worth a move? If you have nothing else to do, yes. If you have absolutely nothing else to do. Cactus Jack says, Choi, are you going to go live and do a watch along for the World Cup? Want to do some super chat bets. I'm unsure, Cactus Jack, but what I will be doing is you will catch me on Fantasy Football Scout for the World Cup FPL, or I say World Cup FPL, the World Cup Fantasy Football. So don't super chat there, but do get involved. You're completely avoiding Palace. It's not necessarily that I'm avoiding them. If I had another transfer, I would bring in Lacroix, but I don't. Thoughts on Gyökeres? Good. I'm going to have my third Arsenal player next game week. Love that. Any news on Gordon playing, says Matthew? No, but I do suspect him to play sooner rather than later, I'll be honest. Yeah, good mate. Need the bench boost to do bits this week to get me back towards top 10k. Fingers crossed. You know what, Kieran? I think it needs a bit more credit. Staying in near enough to top 10k, which you've done this season, is impressive. I mean, it's very hard to stay in and around those ranks. Love these morning streams. Thank you, Haran. Me too. I'm enjoying them. I much prefer the morning streams rather than the 4:30 to 6:30 on a Friday. Are any of the Arsenal fullbacks options? I mean, Ben White is an option. Again, wouldn't be surprised to see him miss out one of the 3 games for the remainder of the season. Welbeck or Hinchelwood? Welbeck. Why Mukiele over Anderson, Chai? Because I feel like Mukiele is just one of those guys who's been popping up week in, week out. Can get DEFCON. More attacking than Anderson. Also, should I do DCL to Welbeck for -8? I don't think it is worth a -8 personally. World Cup FPL, yeah, I know, right? World Cup fantasy football. WFF. Shirky and DCL versus Semenyo and Welbeck. Shirky and DCL versus Semenyo and Welbeck. I would go Semenyo and Welbeck. I have 2 free transfers. Senesi, Strike to Lacroix. Yes, I would do Strike to Lacroix. I'm chasing 14 points. Which option is better? Semenyo to Shirky, Tavernier to Szoboszlai, Senesi to Saliba, Tavernier to Casemiro, DCL to Gyökeres, and Senesi to Danso. DCL and Gyökeres and Senesi to Danso if you're chasing. You haven't taken a hit all season. Fair play. Mark says, Chai, I hope you're well. I'm all good. Thank you for asking, Mark. You're planning on bringing in Wilson for the last 3 weeks. Why is no one talking about him? Am I mad? Look, I don't think that's a bad move at all. Are there midfielders that I'd rather? For example, Semenyo, Shirky, Saka, NDI. Maybe. But if you believe in Wilson, by all means, I don't think it is a bad move at all. And I'd be more than willing to do it. Palmer to Saka or Darlow to Raya already have Gabriel. Probably Palmer to Saka. Choi, what do you think of Spurs going for Senesi providing we stay up? I love the move if we can pull it off. I do quite like it. I want a fit centre-back. Senesi looks like he can stay fit. Bring him in. Best Gibbs White replacement. Again, probably... The boring answer is Rice, unfortunately. Van Heck or Eze? Probably Van Heck is the safer option. Chris says, I'm about to move Senesi to Lacroix. Being talked out of my nose. Chris, I would never try to talk you out of it. But, I mean, if I had to choose, it would be Lacroix, unfortunately. Have you still got trip captain? I don't. Star Van Heck or Gabriel? I would... Oh, that's a tough one. I think because Van Heck is probably the answer. If I look at the clean sheet probability this week, it is in Brighton's favour. Start Garner or Thiago? Probably Garner. Do I bring in Lacroix or just play Van Heck? You just play Van Heck. I would play Gabriel. I would play Gabriel over Van Heck for goal threat, I think. And bonus. Should I play Rodgers or Wilson? I think I would play Rodgers. And should I play Wilson and bench Thiago? Yes. Hey, try Welbeck in for Watkins or Thiago? Welbeck in for Watkins or Thiago? Watkins. I mean, I think we're expecting Watkins to miss out at some point. And I like holding on to Thiago for rotated Palace and Golden Boot possibilities. Hey, try start DCL or Mukiele? I think I would start Mukiele, I'll be honest. It is close though. What's Chewy doing? Chewy is O'Reilly captain, Shirky, Lacroix, Saka. Lovely that. Thanks, good luck, no worries, Mark. We're almost at the end of the stream, lads. Why not captain O'Reilly? Because I think Haaland is the best option. Just like that. Doesn't look like we're going to get Anton on the timeline, ladies and gents. There's only one player this season in the Premier League with 50 chances created and 50 successful take-ons. Jeremy Doku. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'd love to see Chai hit 10k before the end of the season. 10k is an unrealistic goal now, Anto. You know what it was? I took the pedal off making... well, I didn't have time because work has been busy. So I haven't been able to make team selections and transfer plans like I would want to, but it is what it is. And I'm happy to roll on to the new season for 10k, which I'm sure we can get to. So thanks, Anto. Do hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Start Garner or go Mukiele? Garner. Who takes pens for Liverpool now? Szoboszlai. Palmer to Saka or Gordon to Eze? Gordon to Eze feels a bit sideways. I'm skeptical about Eze. Probably Palmer to Saka. How secure Gyökeres the minutes? I mean, I still think Gyökeres starts at least 2 to 3 games for the remainder of the season, so I think he's fairly safe. I would hold on to Rodgers. Look, if Rodgers is ever to be rotated, it probably would be this week. But if you have him, you hold. I think. Start one with Joe Pedro and SCTCL. Okay, I think most of you guys are locked in. Is Salah out for the rest of the season? No farewell to the club. I think that's what he's striving for, Tiny Fungus. I would hate if he didn't get his last game at Anfield. Start Senesi or Calvert-Lewin? I would start Senesi. Again, I'm just confident in the Spurs game, even though I probably shouldn't be, because this is where I seem to get caught up. What is the best game week to triple captain right now? On Erling Haaland is your best week to triple captain. My only other issue then is probably sorting a goalkeeper for the remainder of the season. It's quite boring. I don't think there's anyone I could go to that is worth it. I mean, if I just look at my team for the remainder of the season, if I bring up FPL team, and I've just brought SAKA in for Palmer. I hope you're right about Spurs. And then next week, that leaves me with this team, which I think is very good. And I do think Hall can come back into this team. So, even though I'm skeptical, I don't see him being benched for the remainder of the season. And that team is quite good for next week. And again, like I said, keeper is the position to sort. So I could bring in... who could I bring in? I could bring in Newcastle goalkeeper, which I don't love at all. How many coffees do you have a day, Chai? 3. 3 minimum. Kinski, says Clyde. Kinski. I mean, I could, but Chelsea at the bridge. Need to start tweeting my team locked in to see if I see it on a live Chai stream when he scrolls. Exactly, Kieran. What are you doing? Exactly. That's what we do. That's the whole point. We spy on people's teams. Adam has done Laquan, Saka. Very nice moves. Alright. Nothing interesting on the timeline, ladies and gents. I feel like I'm happy with my team for this week. Up until the remainder of the season. I mean, I'm going to have triple Arsenal for Burnley, triple City for Bournemouth and Villa. Which Villa at the end of the season is no easy game. Of course, they're going to have a European final, of course, but still. Have you had reformed coffee chai? Game changer for me. Reformed coffee. What is reformed coffee? Instead of asking Kieran, what is reformed coffee? A UK-based brand of functional coffee, blends of organic Colombian collagen peptides, apodogenic mushrooms, lion's mane and shaga, and MCT powder. What in the world? I always find that. And Kieran, do you remember I met you, Kieran? I went over for game week 39, and I also went over for was it first game week? No, it was game week 39, I think. And what I noticed about the UK is quite posh. It is quite posh. Like, by no means do I live in any poor area of Ireland, but in comparison to Ireland, you have a load of shite that are just like extra, and it's cool. It's really cool. Like, for example, like you said about reformed coffee, like I would have never heard of that, but that is cool. I must try it. Chris has done Palmer to Saka, João Pedro to Welbeck, and Senesi to Lacroix. Love that, Chris. You know what I will say though, Chris, I don't know if Pedro to Welbeck was necessary. Could be wrong, but overall good moves. Love that. Best midfielder to buy, money no problem. Considering NDI or a Liverpool mid, I think NDI is a great move, John Ross, assuming you're not going to go for any double game week players or an Arsenal asset. Hill or Anderson, I'm going to say Hill. Saka or Eze, I'm going to say Saka. Coffee out of a jar is elite. Me too, I'm having 2 in the morning and 1 before gym. Very good. Hill or Anderson? Hill or Anderson's close. There's no right answer. I'm going to go with Bournemouth for their form, and Hill will be busier for DEFCON. Even though I expect both of them to hit it. Rodgers for the Burnley game is good, John Kennedy, of course. But, of course, we have Europe to worry about for Rodgers. Mate, need you over there. And a spare room in Folkestone if you ever want a beach stay. Folkestone. Good to know, Kieran. I'll keep that in mind. Folkestone. Looks nice. I didn't know UK had areas like this, you know. I might have to book a one-way flight over, Kieran. I'll hold you to it, you know. But yeah, it was nice to meet you, Kieran, of course. HI bench one of Anderson, Mukiele, DCL, and Thiago, please. To be honest, I would be benching Mukiele or DCL. I think. The only reason for it is that, again, somewhat confident in Spurs for the first time this season. Probably DCL. You're moving Sanchez out for Verbergen. I like that. Would you do Strike or Senesi to Lacroix? Strike to Lacroix. Triple captain Semenyo instead of Haaland. Don't mind it, don't love it. Google Birmingham. I know where Birmingham is. Google Birmingham. Isn't that where the Peaky Blinders are from, right? Hi, Chow, would you start Pedro this week? I would. I don't mind that. We have 2 minutes until the end of the stream. I hope all of you are locked in. Do me a favour. If you are using the triple captaincy, make sure your team is saved. If you're using the bench boost, also make sure your team is saved. Cherokee triple captain is bold. There's no reason to wait on triple captain. Punt striker other than Welbeck. Richarlison. Alright, last little scroll. Make sure we're not missing anything. And then we'll call it a week. Doku again. Doku captain. Don't mind it. Wouldn't be mad on it, to be honest. I think a punt, that might be worth taking if you're really looking to differentiate yourselves. Because I think he's going to get 108 minutes. Will be Bernardo Silva. Again, it's not very exciting though. But could be a punt because no one else is going to go there. Brother, please tell me Eze or Bruno G to start. I'll be honest, if I had Bruno G, I'd be starting him. Because I'm skeptical on whether or not Eze starts. If he does start though, could go very well. Okay, ladies and gents, that brings us to the end of the stream. Again, we just about have a minute to go, but I'm going to wrap it up there. Again, another really enjoyable stream. I'm hoping I can somewhat see a green arrow this week. Refical, I didn't know you're in here, my boy, but good luck this week. Do catch me tomorrow on Fantasy Football Scout to see my reaction to Saturday's games and my plans for game week 37. Getting to the remainder of the season, lads. We're almost there, and fair play to all you who are still playing. I mean, I do say it is hard to keep up with it, especially if you are having a poor season like myself, but fair play. I hope you guys have a good week, especially if you are chasing your mini league rivals. Kieran says he's looking forward to owning Bruno G this week. Best luck with that, Kieran, and you'll be seeing me in England at some point, staying in your gaff. But Anto says good luck this week, everyone. Come on, you Spurs, come on, you Gunners. Only time I'll say this. And Derek O'Reilly says all the best. So I'm going to wrap it up there, lads. Another very, very enjoyable stream. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. But as usual, best of luck, and I will see you in the next.